Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. How are you? Hi, I'm very excited. Thank you for joining. This is our first VASTLY SAGE mentorship session, and I am going to be spending the next 2 hours with you, and I hope that you find something in it. I hope you find all of the inspiration you need to change your life. And when I say inspiration, I mean, whatever you believe that is, whatever you take away from this session. Let me catch my breath. I had to run in, my son's emergency a minute before I start the session is that his Fortnite screen has shrunk, and this is like a disaster. So let me just catch my breath. So I sent out the notes around November to say that people can send through questions, because I get asked a lot for mentorship. Mentorship is one of the things I get asked the most. And of course, I mean, time is not always of essence, and I can't actually give attention to just one person because of all of the demands. So I felt that this was the right platform to do that, and I think there's no better day than Saturday morning to do it. So good morning, hi everybody. I hope my lighting is great. I've never done a live on YouTube before, so I have tested the daylight out of it because I am that person. So let's get straight to it. And I truly appreciate the questions that I have received on VASTLY SAGE at amandadambuza.com. Feel free to let others know, whoever needs it, just let them know to send the questions there. And I will be answering every month. So this time around, I've picked quite a few questions that were also quite common across. So I think let's get on with it. One of the questions I got, in fact, I must say before I get going, it really is a difficult time. It's an incredibly testing time for everybody. It's a time that I think we never could have imagined, and the impact on us emotionally and mentally. And I mean, I've said it before, my husband had COVID, but like really bad, like severe COVID. And we just thank God that he's still alive. He made it through, he's pulled through. But having gone through that experience of looking after him, thank God he didn't have to go to hospital. So everything we did at home. And in the last week or two, I felt I had this hole in my heart. So I decided to just kind of withdraw to myself and allow myself to sit in those feelings and those emotions and process them. But I also realized that there's so much devastation around. People are losing jobs, businesses are shutting down. It's everybody knows what it is. But the one thing we must allow ourselves is to go through the emotions. Let's feel what we need to feel. And I meet and I talk to a lot of people who always discount their feelings. So they'll say, oh, I'm feeling really, really down, for whatever reason, I've lost a job. And then they'll say, oh, but my feelings are nothing compared to you having lost a loved one. Don't discount your feelings. Your emotions are real, they exist. Yeah, of course, there's severity in emotions, but emotions are emotions. So allow yourself the space to go through those emotions. And I think that, we're not going to succeed by avoiding them. We are going to succeed by processing them and understanding that actually we are human. We feel things. When I have parents taking kids out of school because they can't afford to look after them, it really is a hard time. And I'm in the business of creating jobs. So when I see jobs being lost, that for me is a low point for me. So I've been processing a lot. But preparing for this session, I must say, got me completely out of that zone. I was like, let's go. I'm ready. So this has been much needed for me as well. And I hope that you will take something valuable from it. So never minimize your feelings. Let's just get that out of the way. So one of the questions I got was, you know, a lot of people have heard me say, you know, you must do the inner work. In fact, one of the episodes on VASTLY SAGE here on YouTube, the talk show, was about, you know, when you come into money and you haven't done the inner work, you are going to struggle. And there's a lot of people that have been asking me, so what does inner work look like? And the truth of the matter is, we carry on in life in autopilot mode, okay? You wake up, you get kids ready for school, or you get yourself ready for work, whatever you do, everything you're doing is just autopilot. You know, you just literally zombing through life. And that is a factor of just everyday living and all these responsibilities and not enough time in the day to do everything. So there's not a lot of conscious living. And you know, when I talk about inner work, and actually I really appreciate this question, because it also got me thinking about, you know, some of the expectations that we put on people. When you say, you know, do the inner work, it's like, but what's that? What does that look like? And when do I do it? I don't have time for it, you know. And I must declare upfront that inner work is not for everybody. Not everybody can do the inner work, because it is hard, it is uncomfortable, it is about unlocking what is sitting inside of you. So let me get on by saying, simply put, for me, inner work is investing in yourself. It's not about money. It's about, you know, taking the time to get to know yourself. So, you know, when you like getting into new relationships and you spend all this time getting to know the person, and the aim is to understand who they are, where they've come from, and how they link up with your values, or, you know, I think more often than not, people are trying to see how they can make that person happy. So you're trying to find out all these things about them. So I say, you know, inner work is about getting to know yourself. The ultimate foundation of inner work is self-love. So it's journeying towards self-love. And I you know, I've said that, you know, you want to know, who are you? What hurt you when you were a child? What made you so happy? Where have you come from? What are your beliefs? What is your family structure? And what are your fondest memories? So literally, I say, imagine you've just met this person, and be it a woman or a guy or bi or trans, whatever you name it, queer, well, whoever you choose. Imagine you've just met this person, and you're trying to understand them. You're trying to understand who they are, where they've come from. You listen so attentively, and you know, you listen every time they talk about their family. So it's about, where have you come from? Who are you? What is your sense of identity? What is your concept of who you are? So yourself, as in how you were brought up, what you were taught, what do you believe in? It's about getting to know yourself. And the next layer becomes about, how have those things that you learned as you were growing up, the things you experienced, the things you saw, the things you felt, how do they then impact or influence how you show up now? So how have your life experiences shaped you? So in a way, you start with the what. So what is it? Where have you come from? What was the tangible things that you remember? And then you get to, how do those things show up? So if you had really great fond memories of family life, and how does that influence how you are now? If you had a really bad childhood, how does that show up? But you can't get to a point where you understand how it shows up when you do not understand what it is. So it's the going in and looking in to see what is sitting there. And you know, how do your experiences as a child influence what you do? And you can never discount what a childhood does to a person. That is our foundation. That is where we are crafted. That's where we are baked. You are either baked in pain, or you're baked in love, or you're baked in both. Either way, you are baked one way or the other. So it's how do your experiences as a child influence what you do? And this is the most critical for me, and incredibly empowering, because it is that journey towards knowledge of self. But you can't know how things impact you if you don't know what they are. So once you've kind of got to that layer, then you get to, what I probably call a bit of an advanced layer, where you start to ask yourself, you look at yourself in relation to the world. So who are you? Where have you come from? How do the things that you experienced in your childhood show up or influence you? And once you get a sense of that, is what is your role in relation in your world? So what do you think you're here for? And this is where we start to talk about things like purpose and your why. It's why are you here? But you can never get, and somebody can correct me, I stand to be corrected. I don't believe you can ever get to a place where you understand what your purpose or your why is if you have not done those layers, those steps to understand who are you, what drives you, why are you here, what influences you, how do those things show up in your everyday life, be it work, be it relationships, and etc. And we're going to unpack that quite a bit more. So, you know what I believe that once you know and you understand, therefore you can transform. You can change what you don't like. You can keep the things you like and maybe customize them. And I really think that you can also then recreate. If your foundation wasn't strong, you've got an opportunity to recreate, because now you understand what's sitting there. You understand how it came to be about. You understand how it shows up in your real life. And you then have got the opportunity to recreate. And if you don't need to, I personally think everybody has an opportunity to recreate. Some people can say, no, I'm cool, I don't need to recreate. No, I think we are human beings and we are constantly evolving. So, but it is really important that you understand what informs, how you show up. And I'll give an example of how our experiences in life, in our childhood, show up in our real life. A lot of people, will say they've achieved so much. I mean, they have every single thing you can think of, every single degree you can think of. They've got masters in this and that. They've got great jobs. They've got families or whatever. But they don't feel fulfilled, and they constantly feel like they need to be achieving more. And and I've had a lot of people ask me this. They say, Amanda, I feel like such a failure. And I'm like, failure? Look at what you've achieved. How could you possibly be a failure? But you start to understand that something is sitting inside of that person. And I always say, who said what to you when? So when you were a child, were you being compared to your siblings, to the other sibling who's always like this, who was achieving this, who was doing that? Did you have a parent that was always hard on you, that came hard on you? It's possible that, you came from a family that didn't have money, and the little bit that was there was a lot of pressure on you to make sure that you succeed, because, there is no money. And a lot of us who come from Black families know this. Chances are you're the first one that goes to varsity. There's just this huge expectation on you. So every time you have feelings like that, you always have to just take a pause and step back and say, why do I feel this way? Where does it come from? Because it is not a normal feeling. What I mean that by normal is that when you have achieved, and a lot of people have achieved so much, just putting food on your table is an achievement, okay? And being able to send your kids to school, being able to get medicine for your parents, your elderly parents or whatever, it's a great achievement. But a lot of people don't see those things as achievements because they were constantly told they were not enough. So they were constantly told they could do better. They were all sorts of things. So I'm just saying, think about what is sitting inside of you. So just before I carry on, as you start with that journey of discovery, so understanding what's sitting inside of you, what were your fond memories, what were your heartache moments. Do not judge the experiences. So literally just take a piece of pen, a book, a journal, or whatever, just start writing them down. And don't write them down with the purpose of judging them. Don't say, oh, I remember my aunt said this, but I mean, Amanda, she didn't mean to be nasty. No, just say, on that, when my aunt said this, that made me feel small. And do not judge the experience, just record it, just a recordial of the things that you've gone through. Now, you must understand that, and this is the reason why when I started, I said, this is not for everybody. Because, when you have to sit and start recording the things that you experienced as a child, you are also unlocking the absolute painful memories that you may have buried. Because this is what happens when you're a child. Your subconscious cannot handle the pain. Your mind can't handle the pain. So it stores it in the subconscious. It literally hides it in there. That's why a lot of people who have suffered sexual abuse in their young years often don't remember it until something triggers it, or they sit and they actually unlock what is sitting inside there. And they're like, oh my gosh, I had forgotten about that. And then everything starts coming back. It's because the pain of that is too much to bear. Therefore, it gets locked into the subconscious. So it's a process that a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to know what's sitting inside of them because it's too painful to bear. It's too painful to think about. They just can't. But I think it's where we can really unlock our greatness. So try not to judge it, just record it, and do not comment or jump to conclusions, because it's a journey. It's not something that you just get to and be like, oh yeah, no, now I have a solution. No, you don't. So it is really just about recording and getting acquainted with what is there. And I say this is about, it's a start of being conscious. It's consciousness. It's digging into what is sitting in there and bringing it forth. And that is very difficult. So I say inner work is an internal journey of discovery. It is exploring ourselves. It's exploring the deepest corners. It's exploring the darkest spots, the brightest spots. It's looking at every single angle and saying, who am I? Where have I come from? What informed who I have become? And what is going to inform who I become in the future? Because we are constantly evolving. So the aim is to really understand, heal, and transform. Because you can't heal or transform something you do not know. It's whilst I can say all of that, the question is, how do you do it? How do you do inner work? So firstly, schedule time for yourself. I know so many people who cannot stand their own company. That is a problem. You need to understand why. Why can you not stand your own company? So schedule time to be with yourself. I always say to people, even if you are, this concept of let me fit everything into this space. I'm going to go to the supermarket, quickly do my hair, quickly do my nails. No. Please just pause, just slow it down. If you're going to go to the supermarket, go to the supermarket and then go home. If you're going to go do your nails, please go do your nails and sit there and say, this is time for myself. Don't look at it as a chore. So a lot of things that we do are about autopilot. You heard me say in the beginning, it's let me do. No. Please, I get tired just thinking about it. So slow it down and start being conscious. Remember, every single minute, every single hour of your time matters. So you are going to spend time with yourself. And as I've said it before, do not sit at a nail bar and just gossip and listen to all sorts of nonsense. Please just allow yourself to be with yourself. And I'm not saying don't be friendly. I'm just saying treat that time as very sacred and time for your thoughts, because a lot of us don't have that time. So I say, even when you are sipping a cup of tea, it's not just, hey, let me quickly have some tea. No. You are having time to yourself. And as simple as that sound, but that is actually how you start to notice yourself. That is how you start to notice who you are. That is how you start to understand what is sitting inside of you and where you're going. That's how you start to process yourself. So schedule time with yourself. And if you are afraid to be alone with yourself, ask yourself the question, why? Why are you afraid? And the truth is that, it is hard to go revisit what is in there. But sometimes these are wounds that need to be opened for them to actually heal. Because often the wounds haven't healed. All they did is just cover the top. They haven't actually deeply healed. So sometimes you must scratch that top and see what is in there, because there could be really a lot of pus that's sitting in there and you're getting an infection and you don't even know it. So it's terrifying. It is something that people don't want to do, but do it. I mean, it is empowering. So if you have that, I'm afraid to be alone, or I constantly need people's company, then you need to understand why. Also, be deep. Be deep and think about yourself, your feelings, your emotions, and your processes. You must process them. Process those feelings, process those emotions. But you cannot do that when you're constantly caught up in the noise. If you're constantly caught up in the noise, you do not have the time to process what you go through. You do not have the time to process anything, in fact. And people wonder why they throw toys and they have bad reactions to everything. Everything is irritating. Everything is an issue. It's because you don't have time. You haven't made the time to process. You haven't made the time to discover who you are. You haven't made time to actually just prioritize your own well-being. So it's important that you pick something that irritates you and understand why. Why does it irritate you? So I'm that person. I will look at people. I observe people's reactions. I observe how they relate with others. And I've said this before. I did study social sciences for a reason. I'm very curious about society and people. And, I can tell in a heartbeat when somebody has a lot sitting inside of them. Because bitterness and being inconsiderate and treating everybody like they're small and thinking something is sitting inside of you, something is driving that behavior. And, even people who are incredibly impatient on the road, listen, we all have a case of road rage every now and then. And frankly, I think we're all happy we can sit in our cars and not come out. but I'm just talking, generally when you're constantly irritated by everything, something is sitting inside of you. Because guys, we really gotta chill and enjoy this life, but we can't do that if we are carrying and we're burdened by all of these things that we've had to carry. So pick something that irritates you and unpack that and understand where does it come from. So go back to when I started. I said you get to know who you are, what influenced you, who said what to you, how do you think it shows up. Also, really feel free to be deep about yourself. If there's one thing you should be, is deep about yourself. Take yourself seriously. And journal, if that's your thing. I really encourage you to write. There's a reason why I handwrite all my notes when I do these sessions. It's because it's not just about me telling you something or giving you something. I'm also getting a lot. And I'm a person that learns by writing. I always tell my kids when I was at varsity, I had to sit in a lecture and listen and then write all this stuff, because that's my learning style. And as a result, I was left with very little to do before exams because I listened in class. I listened in the lecture or in the tutorial session or whatever. But everybody has got their own style. But and in the world of computers, I really think taking a pen and writing, there's a connection that you make with your mind through that. So journal. Do not judge your feelings. And this is very important because often we are our own worst critics. And there's nothing cute about being your own worst critic. Let me just tell you that. Do not judge your feelings and try and understand them. So journal them and then process them and understand, okay, where does this come from? Because the aim is to transform what you do not like. The aim is to journey towards self-love. And once you understand yourself, you begin to feel a little more compassion. What do I mean? You start to embrace yourself a little more. So in my book, Baked in Pain, I talk a lot about, the day I connected with the inner child, that is Amanda. And from that moment on, my life changed because I started to look at Amanda as a separate being from me, but this little child who had to go through so much. And then I look back and I look at this Amanda and I'm like, girl, I don't know how you did it. And immediately I was like, I am going to protect you, even if it's the last thing I do on earth. And you start to love yourself so much more. You start to embrace yourself so much more because you know what you've had to go through. And I always say, only you know your journey. Only you know how deep the things you've had to go through are. And you cannot expect people to know that about you. That is your business. And it truly is important that you start to embrace yourself, to start to be compassionate with yourself. You start to really talk to yourself in a positive manner and treat yourself, with those gloves that you often use to treat other people. And when I say, allow yourself the space to heal. I say allow your space the space to heal. Go through those emotions and seek help where you need help, because it's not only something that you can do by yourself, because once you uncover what's sitting there, it really can be heavy. It's hard to bear, and often you don't know, okay, so now that I know, what do I do? How do I go about it? And it's that's often the hardest point. The hardest investment is, now I know, and what do I do? So allow yourself that space to heal. Forgive. You must forgive. Forgiving isn't about the person you're forgiving or the things you're forgiving. It's about forgiving yourself. It's forgiving yourself for the things you believed. It's forgiving yourself for the things you've seen and maybe internalized. It's forgiving yourself for thinking you were not enough. It's forgiving yourself for believing. It's forgiving yourself for thinking you caused it. It's forgiving yourself for every single thing that you've experienced that was a hardship. It's forgiving yourself. It's letting go. It's letting go of that burden. It's releasing yourself. I mean, I remember very well when that moment happened for me. I must have been 23 years old. And I said to myself, I am not my mother's mistakes. I am not the abuse. I am not the shame. I am none of it. I am releasing it. And I was releasing myself from it, because we carry it. We carry all of the sins of other people, things that people did to us, things that people said to us, we carry them. And we end up really feeling like victims. So I really think allow yourself that space to heal, forgive, and you can learn how to do these things, guys. There's so many resources on the internet. A lot of people ask me, please send me book recommendations. The truth is, sometimes you don't even need a book. You just need to Google, how do I forgive my mother? Or how do I and then you take what resonates with you, because that's the most important thing. It's taking what resonates with you and you apply it. And I say rejoice in the bright spots. Rejoice in those wonderful fond memories, and heal the dark corners. Heal the dark corners, because the dark corners have such an amazing and powerful ability to cloud the bright spots. And I've also been reflecting on my own journey, and I always think, there are clearly some things that my mother did that were really great, that were nice, but the dark spots clouded all of that. And as a result, I don't remember any of them. I only ever remember the dark spots. But with time and with healing and with just journeying towards this inner self, you start to uncover those bright spots as well. It's like, oh, I remember that. That was quite cool, But ultimately, as parents or caregivers, or when we have people in our care, and for ourselves, is to have more of those bright spots than the dark ones. so that the dark ones don't consume the bright ones, but rejoice in the bright spots and heal the dark corners. But you must first bring out what is lurking in there. Stop talking yourself down. People, stop talking yourself down. It is not cute. It is not attractive. There is nothing attractive about saying, oh, no, this is nothing. Oh, it's just a little something. Oh, Amanda, why did you do that again? You always do this. If you keep talking to yourself like that, go back and understand why. Who did what to you? What did they say? And why did they speak to you like that? And then you can understand how you can change it. But these are all triggers. Negative self-talk is just, it's a symptom of something. It's a symptom of what is sitting inside of you. So, a lot of people use affirmations to remind themselves of how great they are. And that's good. If that works for you, do that. But lock it in and know, okay, be conscious of how you're showing up. Say that, okay, I don't like how I spoke to that person. Why did I do that? We should be constantly asking the why, because why are we doing things? You can't just be doing things for the sake of doing them. Why? It makes no sense. So it's about understanding. And if you're a person that is constantly hard on yourself, understand why you are like that. And the aim is to change it, right? And this one is tricky for everyone, but accept what you cannot change. Accept what you cannot change and only think about what you have control. And the only thing you have control over, by the way, is yourself. You can only control yourself. You can only control your emotions, your reactions. You cannot control other people, even though a lot of you think you can. You cannot. And you also cannot control what happened to you. So you can't. The only reason you go into the past is so that you can heal your present, so that your future is brighter and more bearable than your past. You can't change what happened in the past. So these are some of the things that I really think are important. And release yourself from the pain and release yourself from the shame of your past. And if you are one of those fortunate human beings who had a fantastic childhood, use that as a stepping stone to your even better self, to have that just highest expression of self. And one of the people asked me asked a question that says, do you need pain in order to be the greatest version of yourself? I'm like, no. Who wants pain? Nobody chooses pain. But pain is dealt, But so the cards that you're dealt in life, you don't choose when you're a child, but when you're an adult, you do, okay? But where the foundation was shaky, you're gonna have to rebuild it. You're gonna have to rebuild it, because you cannot build a house on a shaky foundation. So the gift, the opportunity in all of these things is that we have the ability. It is in our hands, it's in our hearts, it's in our minds to build that foundation, to rebuild the foundation. So release yourself and make decisions that empower your vision of yourself. When you get to that point where you understand who are you, who do you want to be, and where are you going, how do you relate to your ecosystem, your world, for you to empower that vision, you have got to make the right decisions. And you can't blame other people for your decisions. Maybe when you're a child, you couldn't decide for yourself, but you are an adult. Every single decision you make, in fact, from when you turn 18, every single decision you make is on you. Okay, wait, let's roll it back. From when you turn 13, your decisions are completely yours and yours alone. So, be careful about the energy you keep around you. Be careful about the people you keep. Be careful about, how you speak to yourself. Be careful who you go into bed with, who you do business with. Be careful. Don't just be autopiloting around and just picking up every scrap that's remaining. Please don't. Be a little more discerning about who you are, what you deserve, and you deserve the best. You deserve the absolute creme de la creme of everything. Why not? Why not you? Why must other people be the ones that keep getting the good stuff and you just get the scraps, you get the crumbs, and you are happy with the crumbs and you want the crumbs, you worship the crumbs? No. You deserve the best and you must get the best. And it is all one decision at a time that determines whether you get the best or not. So don't underestimate the power of your relationships and the energy that you keep around yourself. And I'm very sticky about, because energy is everything. And I always say, if you are with people that every time you walk away from that experience, you're not empowered, you're not better, you feel less and less about yourself. You shrink with every moment, with every encounter you're shrinking. I'm saying you need to revisit why you're friends with those people. So even jobs, jobs that are draining. Yeah, we all need food on the table, but you can't just keep staying in a place where you're getting abused every single day of your life. Surely that's not healthy. So make a plan and decide exit relationships that do not serve you. It is as simple as that. But of course, the act of exiting is the problem, because people want to hang on. In fact, we'll talk about that in a bit, because I've got quite another question to that effect. So the benefits of inner work, it's self-understanding. Self-understanding leads to self-acceptance. And, where self-criticism starts to diminish, because you know who you are, you know where you've come from, you know what you've had to deal with, you know how hard you have fought to be where you are. So the benefits of inner work cannot be underestimated. And inner work also leads to just rewriting your history, rewriting the present and the future that you want, and transforming and changing that which no longer serves you, and changing what you no longer like. And that's the beauty of it. And self-esteem is improved because you have an understanding of who you are and what grounds you. And people's opinions no longer shatter you. It's amazing how many people are shattered by the opinions of others. Somebody says something negative, you have fallen off the rail and you are a mess. I'm like, why do people's opinions matter so much? It's because you haven't actually grounded yourself in your own opinion of yourself. So what is your opinion of yourself is what you should be fighting towards, because ultimately the underlying foundation of inner work is self-love. So we should be fighting for, I just want to love myself. It doesn't matter who says what about me. Yeah, I might take it into consideration if it's an opinion I've asked for, but I don't care what your opinion is of me. I can assure you the only opinion I care about in my life is the opinion of my children. That's it. Any and everybody else. And why do I care about my children's opinion? Because I've come from a place where I had a shattered childhood. I have a really strange relationship with my mother. I want to be better. I want to do better. I want to be a better mother. I want my legacy as a mother to matter. I want all the things that I've put in. Even my husband's opinion doesn't matter. Don't tell him I said that. So inner peace brings about peace of mind. Peace of mind, because that is what we all want at the end of it all. Peace of mind. And seeing that we are in control of how we react to life's challenges gives you a sense of, in fact, I'm in control of my actions. You are in control of your actions. And your decisions determine your decisions will lead to consequences. Whatever the consequences, remember, every decision, every action has a consequence. You make positive decisions, chances are the consequences you will be positive. Negative decisions, you get it, right? But I think there's this sense of calm that comes over you when you have peace. You have peace of mind. You know who you are. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. You know what you will compromise on and what you won't compromise on. And you start to forgive yourself and you forgive others, and it brings peace. But let me talk about a little bit about forgiveness before, because I'm carrying on, guys. I hope you're catching up. The thing about, forgiving others doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean you want to stay in a relationship. It doesn't mean, and I remember one day one of my daughters said this. She said, yeah, Mama, yeah, I forgive, but I mean, it doesn't mean I'm okay with what has happened. And I'm like, yes, girl, that's exactly what I preach. So a lot of people end up finding themselves in incredibly abusive situations because they have forgiven. So if you're saying you've forgiven, it means you must stay. No, no, no. Don't get it twisted. You can forgive, and the part of that forgiveness and and healing that situation says, but I never want to put myself in the situation ever again. So I am forgiving the situation, I'm forgiving the act, but I am moving on with my life because I deserve better. So, and it's not just about relationships, it's about everything. It's about, how you treat yourself. It's about, how hard you come down on yourself when you've made mistakes, when you've fallen by the wayside. And we just need to be a little more compassionate with ourselves. So you'll be able to move past your fears and appreciate your limitations. About limits, I have absolutely no idea about limits. I just keep going and I keep pushing them. I understand what I like and what I don't like, but there's things I do best. I push them to the core, like to the edge, in fact, because then I derive ultimate value. I derive greatness from it. So you just start liking and loving yourself a whole lot more. So your choices start to be better when you've done the inner work, because now you know what you deserve. You know what you should be choosing. You know what's going to enable you. And remember, we form our reality of ourselves. So we form our own reality of ourselves. So I decide who I am, how I show up in the world, and who I want to become. So be conscious of that reality. Be conscious of the reality you are creating about yourself, because that is how people receive you, and that is how you show up for yourself and in the world. So inner work is a journey. It's constant evolution. It's rediscovery. It's growth, both emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and really otherwise. And remember, you cannot build a house on bad foundation. That's proven. It's not you can try. That house is not going to stand for long. And we've seen this, time and again. And your levels of tolerance of BS, I can tell you, they start to diminish. Because when you are not sure of who you are, you tolerate a lot of nonsense. You really do. You tolerate people wasting your time. You tolerate every single thing you tolerate. But when you've done that inner work and you get to that place, you start to realize, actually, I don't have time for BS, And I find that, people who have done inner work are a little more open-minded and less closed and judgmental. They realize that there's so much more to the world. There's so much more to people. There's so much more to explore. There's so much more to ourselves, and I think your worth increases. Okay, so you cannot change your life if your idea of self has not changed. This is very important, and I'll close off that question with that. So you cannot change your life if your idea of self has not changed, and you cannot keep building on bad foundation. It's a futile exercise. I hope you are getting helped. And it sounds like a church sermon. Are you getting helped this morning? Oh man. All right, so let me move on to the next one. And this next question is, how do I position myself when applying for jobs that I know will stretch and grow me? And this question, the background to it is this person has a qualification in maths and economics, but is doing project administration work, and they really would like to be in business intelligence. And so the context to it is applying for jobs that you probably aren't ready for, or they're too big, seem too big for you, and etc. So firstly, I must say here, every move you make in life is setting up the next one. So every single thing you do in life, you've heard me, actions, consequences. It doesn't matter if it's in your personal life or in your work life. Every single move you make is setting up the next one. So think about it. And a lot of people have heard me speak. I talk about chess a lot, and then the strategy around chess. Every single move you make is about enabling the win. So that's it. You should be focusing on moves that are enabling the win, whatever your win is. And you know, you find a lot of people who go, let's say you're at a party, when we could party, you are in a setting where there are people, and you think you are in a setting where there are people, and you think you should behave differently in your workplace than you do at a braai or in your personal life. That means there are multiple different people showing up. Yeah, people wear masks every single day. That's true. Not the COVID mask, I mean mask. So the truth is that you could be at a braai, and in there is your next business partner, is your next employer, is your next life partner, is your, you name it. So it is important to be consistent. People need to know who you are. They should never doubt. When someone says Amanda did this in that other situation or in that point, they should be like, there's no way Amanda can do that, because we know who Amanda is. So anyway, every single move you make is about enabling the next. Now, never discount your previous job experience. So when you're heading for those, what's seemingly your next, never discount your previous job experience. Experience is experience. You know, experience is experience, and it is valuable. Now, of course, the quality of the experience matters. So, you know, think about the jobs that you're doing and try and do them to the best of your ability. The best of your ability, and treat it like it's something that's never coming again. It really enrages me when I see people who have a job and they do not treat it with respect. You go into a shop, people don't treat you like you are their next meal. They treat you like, okay. There is not even, I hate it when I walk into a shop and I'm the one that must say good morning to them. Of course, I'll do it because I'm me, I'll do that. But I want them to literally be like, that is my piece of steak for today, or that's food for my, that is school for my children, that is medicine for my mother, for my father, you name it. But people are just so like, okay, and as a business owner, I swear to God, that kills me. And I always say to people, I'm that person that's like, you don't like your job, ne? I'm that annoying customer. And I refuse to settle for bad service. So anyway, I'm preaching now. But the truth is that experience can be transferred to any other job. What obviously can't be transferred is skill. So, I mean, you can't be a cashier or a clerk and then you think tomorrow you can be an astronaut. No, there's a gap there. There's a significant gap, and you need to understand what that gap is. So never discount your previous job experience, and treat it with respect, and do the best of your ability, because you never know where your next opportunity is going to come. Your next opportunity might be the skill that's required for that job. And your current job is always setting you up for your next. Even in business, I mean, the many people I have given business opportunities to, some treat them with flying colors. Others, you're the one that's following up on them for a quote. 3 months after you asked, you keep asking, quote me Galo, quote me Galo. And I was like, guys, clearly you're not hungry. You don't want to be Rupert. And there's no putting this mildly. People who are out there and are building relationships get noticed, okay? So you can sit in your corner and say, I'm an introvert, I don't know, it's not gonna serve you. Get up and do what you need to do. Learn what you need to learn. Nobody is saying, go out there and be some floating butterfly. No, but understand what it's going to take for you to succeed. So people who are out there and building relationships get noticed. So talk about your work. It's something that everybody really struggles with. I mean, a lot of people struggle with, not everybody. A lot of people struggle with, especially women. Talk about your work. Talk about your achievements to people that matter. Even if you were involved in some project, remember, there is nothing as, it was nothing. No. If you are part of a project that achieved something big, talk about that. If you are, any milestone is a big milestone. Talk about that to people that matter, to people that can sit at a table and talk about you in your absence. Talk about your achievements, but also talk about the lessons that you've taken from instances where things didn't go as well as you hoped, where things didn't work out as well as you hoped. Talk about that. And watch, there's a January clip on YouTube here for our January motivation series. There's part 1 where Muzamo talks, part 2 where Muzamo talks about sponsors. And that's very important. And sponsors don't have to just be inside your workplace. Sponsors can be people outside. So again, I'm saying to you, how you carry yourself in the workplace and in your personal life can't be so incongruent that, no one even outside wants to refer you for anything. So you should be looking for those relationships of people that can actually talk about you in your absence. But I'm not a big believer in just being, let me identify people and have relationships with them just so that you can be famous. It's about knowing the right people and making sure that you can get introductions, not to use them for anything more than that, hopefully. Thank you for all your comments, guys. I'm enjoying them. Hopefully I can read them after this. So I say identify a person who is doing the job that you want and ask them to teach you about the job. So just what it is, what they do, and be clear about your intention. Your intention is that you want to grow into that role. So start doing the work to ensure that you position yourself there. And identify what your goal is. What do you want? Don't go to someone and wishy-wash and waste their time. Be very clear that this is what I want to do. So I am currently a project administrator. I would love to be a business intelligence analyst, BI analyst, and say I've got a BCom in maths and economics and this is how I can use all of that training and etc. And you may find that your path to being a BI analyst might be become a business analyst, and you learn how to be an analyst, and etc. etc. So, but be clear about what that goal is and tell people what your goal is, but don't neglect your job now that you have, because that's the stepping stone to the next thing. And you must enroll for courses that teach you about what you don't know. So that's how you get the skill, is you get to learn what you need to learn and look out for opportunities. There's always an opportunity to do something that is going to enable your next. So, let's talk about what I used to do. I was a course, and remember when you're a scribe, all you do is take minutes for people and document the workshop outcomes and etc. So I would sit there and get trained and go through the training myself. So I became a qualified facilitator and project manager before I even started, or let me say trained, because then I still had to go and get certified for that. But an opportunity came where one of the facilitators fell ill, and they're like, Amanda, we think you can do this. I was like, of course I can do it. And I was terrified. But, I remember thinking that I know this stuff. I've learned this. I've got the skill. I've got the competence. All I need now is the opportunity to prove myself. And I took it with both arms, I can tell you that. And anyway, so be patient and have a learning spirit. So understand that, you don't just wake up and suddenly you're in a big job. And you've heard me talk about people recently graduated, as those people with MBAs. I love them. But try and work with those people. It's hard, because for them overnight they want to be something that they're not. And I love how the MBA gives that much confidence. But the truth of the matter is sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes you just have to be patient. And it's okay to leave an organization that's not giving you what you want. And I've had that case as well, where someone has their MBA, they want to do this big job, but my company is a small company, it doesn't have this big job. You either are a consultant out at clients, or you are the CEO or the COO. So it's okay to leave organizations that don't give you the opportunity that you want because you feel you are ready for it. But remember to just be patient. Be patient. And if it's in your path to leave, leave. but have a learning spirit, because it doesn't matter where you go, you are constantly going to have to be learning something. And I really, really believe that people don't get jobs just for skill. It's the attitude. It's how you interact with others. It's what is your full package? What is the true value of you? Because it's beyond just technicalities, because technicalities can be learned. So I also say, know your value. Again, guys, there's a reason why I started with the inner work question. That sets the boundary for everything. That sets the tone, that sets the benchmark, in fact, not the boundary, the benchmark. And so know your value. Experience alone won't cut it. It is about the quality of the experience. It is the interaction. It's the quality of the human being. People hire human beings. They don't just hire a piece of paper or skill, or they hire the human. So it's very important. And learn to sell yourself. Mzamo in the first series talks about some of the tools that can be used to start learning how to sell yourself. Start understanding what your true value is. But above everything else, get a career coach. Often there's catalogs and jobs of providers, of vendors, of career coaches, leadership development specialists, you name it. Tap into that. It is your right to get that. So absolutely go for it. And remember, job requirements get set largely as a guideline. So don't look at a job requirement and discount yourself because you don't qualify for it. Again, I made the example. If you're a cashier or a clerk or a project administrator or project manager, whatever, you can't then just expect to jump from that and become an astronaut because job requirements are just a guideline. No. Understand what the limitation plays are, but don't if it's something within your sights, don't discount yourself for it. In fact, you don't have to be even 60% ready for a new job, as long as your mind is about you want to learn, you want to do better. And guys, I must tell you, people's CVs suck. Okay, your CVs are boring. Your CVs are boring. Do something, okay? And I'm not talking about here on this. No, that's fine. It's the cover page. The covering letter is page. It's what attracts employers to you. So even if you are internal, you can't assume that people know you. No. So your covering letter is what I'm referring to here, and tell a story about you, that will intrigue the reader, and highlight your achievements and what you are passionate about, and be clear about what you are looking for next, and keep it professional, please. No one wants to know about your skills as a pole dancer. Believe me, no one wants to know, or your hobbies that are poker and whatever. Keep it yourself. You can tell them after when they've hired you. But yeah, and remember that the so-called soft skills are probably what actually gets you the job. So a lot of people don't overemphasize that, and I think you should emphasize what is called soft skills. And if you don't know what soft skills are, please Google it. But I can tell you that they are the decision makers. They make the deal or they break the deal for you. Because if you can't work in a team, if you're not compassionate, if you don't demonstrate where you've actually helped somebody else, where you've stepped in for your boss because they were ill, where all of those things that matter, they really matter. So when you're writing your covering letter, tell the story of who you are. A covering letter can't be 2 pages, guys. It's just 1 page. And be concise, be clear, and say what you're looking for, because nobody has time to read through 15 pages of stuff, okay? So there is a fine line between networking to be recognized for future opportunities and just trying to get famous. So be careful with that. Don't be annoying. I'm just saying, don't be annoying. There are people who are so annoying, who want to know everybody just for the sake of knowing them, and they want to name drop. Please do not name drop unless your name can be dropped. Yes? Don't name drop unless your name can be dropped. Okay, so there's a certain level you need to get to before you've earned the right to name drop. Otherwise, it is annoying and nobody cares. So, but you know, I say use your existing relationships to get introductions. So be clear to people. Say, I really would like you to introduce me to that person, and this is the reason why. A lot of you ask for mentorship, and there was another question, in fact, that said, how far can mentees go with their mentors? I was like, what do you mean? Don't go that far. But the truth is that if you have a mentor and all you wanted from your mentor was their association, say that and don't waste their time. If you want an introduction from a person, they don't have to be your mentor. You can just ask them for an introduction. And this is important, to just be open and actually real about what you're looking for. So your move from one job to the next is, in fact, it lies in the relationships. It lies in how you've carried yourself. It lies in, you know, who knows what about you. It's not always your skill. It's not, I mean, it's not always your experience. It is your ability to learn what you need to learn. But the fact that you've already had this lasting impression on somebody, and somebody can talk about it for you, and you can stand up for it. So you know what? It matters who you run with. So your relationships matter. But I say just go for it. Just go for it. What's the worst that will happen? Somebody will say no. No one has ever been killed by a no. So go for it and learn what you need to learn. Even if you don't get the job, take the lesson from it. So ask, why did I not get the job? So that, and don't ask because you're sour. Sour grapes, nobody wants that. Nobody will ever hire you. But just ask from a learning perspective and say, you know what? I really wanted this job, but I understand that maybe I'm not ready for it. So tell me more about what I need to do. And that person can actually be the next person to facilitate a role for you. So in a sense, I'll close that one day. There's so much more to say about that, but don't limit yourself. Just go for it. Do what you need to do. Have a learning attitude, and understand that, you know, some of these things do take time. But you've got the qualifications, you've got the experience, you just go for it. And sometimes it really is just a matter of confidence. And if you don't go for it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to sit in your corner and be bitter because you see so many people who, according to you, are like, have no qualifications, no experience, no skill, but somehow they're climbing the ladder. You need to understand why. It's got nothing to do with experience. It's got everything to do with the ability to talk yourself into a job. So talk yourself into a job. Don't lie. Never lie. Okay. So the other question is, how do I get my company to help the right people? This person says, I'm running out of money. I have another job that maintains my business venture, but my investment seems to be going down the drain. So this question, in fact, is a common question as well. People who are in corporate jobs or in a job and want to start a business or have started businesses, and they keep pouring money into that, but they don't know how to get the business. It is not happening. So first of all, let me, in fact, another person asked a similar question, but they run a nonprofit organization. So I'm gonna, and I responded to them directly because that was quite specific. But ultimately, let me first say, welcome to the world of entrepreneurship. This is it. This is it. You know, all you do is spend money, a lot of money, and you keep hustling and hustling, and you are lucky to win at least 2 or 3 out of 10 opportunities that you pursue. That's business for you. And the aim in business is to constantly win more and more. But you understand that that one you've won, one is what sets you up for the next one and the next one. You've heard me say already in the session, every single move you make is about enabling the next. It's about enabling your win, whatever your win is. That's it. That's how you do it. So this you know, this is, and I've said this before, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, guys. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur. And you can say what you want, it's the reality of it. Because, you know, things like money drowning in the drain, you're depressed, business isn't coming, you don't know what to do. It's common. That's it. It is what many cannot handle or stomach. This is the hardship many have to go through before success can be attained, if ever. Now, I don't want to sound like the god of doom or anything, but the truth is that some people try business and they never taste success. Some people try business so many times. I've tried business so many times. I've lost so much money before I even got to a point where I can call myself a successful business person. So, welcome to the world of entrepreneurship. There is no shortcut. There is no quick access. People can promise you all sorts of returns online, all these scams about forex this, binary what this. Don't believe that. There is no getting rich quick. I mean, unless you've inherited Rupert's money. I don't know. There is no shame. Poor Rupert. I'm on him today. But there is no getting rich quick, guys. You're just gonna have to stick it out. So why are you in business is the first question you should always be able to answer, even before you get into business. So when you're busy thinking you're going to leave your corporate job, in fact, I advocate for people to stay in the corporate jobs, especially if you have things like, oh, I'm so afraid, then stay in your corporate job, please, because out here, rough. These streets, these entrepreneurship streets are not for the faint-hearted, I can tell you. You fight hard. And, you know, in the context of South Africa, we've got this thing that, you know, oh, BEE and Black women, top. No. If that was true, I'd be a multi-billionaire, okay? Because business should be falling on my lap. It doesn't. It does not. In fact, sometimes it's a hindrance. So you just have to learn how to navigate the space. Again, relationships are just everything. There's no getting away from that. So why are you in business? And you must always be able to answer that. Categorically, you must be able to answer that. If you cannot answer why you're going into business, stay in your job, because it's not going to be good for you. And why you're in business cannot just be about making money, because money doesn't come very quickly, at least not for some of us. Money does not come quickly. You have to put in the hard yards. You have to grind. You have to lose so much before you get to seeing that first buck, you know. And everyone's journey is different. And I'm talking to a person here who's struggling, who's put in money, who's not seeing anything happen, who also doesn't know how to sell ultimately. So the reason you are in business before you even start matters. What problem are you trying to solve? And I'm starting here before I answer the question, because people think they can just jump and do business and then ask us questions about, okay, so how do I become successful? No, do the work up front, because that sets up your success, build the foundation. What problem are you trying to solve? Who needs your service and your offering and your product? Who needs that? Because that's how you identify who's going to buy it. So the question that says, how do I get my company to help the right people? You already have a company and you didn't start by thinking, who is it going to be serving? So I'm just saying, and if I'm sounding a bit harsh, it's because I deal with this so many times where people just go and do things and they don't know then after that, okay, what do I do now? No, please be a little more considered. Don't overplan, don't overthink, but be considered, because I'm not going to go into Google and type business plan template for you. You must do that yourself, because you're the one that wants the business. So before you even start, what problem are you trying to solve? Why are you going into business? Who needs your service? Who needs your offering? If you are just trying to create a job for yourself, then you go pimp yourself out and contract out your services or whatever it is. But if you're trying to build a business, you really need to understand your target market. Who is going to buy your offering? Who needs your solution? What problem are you trying to solve? And identify those things up front. And this is merit. There is merit in a business plan, especially where your networks are not expansive and you are not confident. And I think what a business plan does, it focuses you into thinking, okay, so you've got this amazing idea, but an idea is not a business. It's only a business when you start getting in the money, when you've invoiced and you've delivered, you've invoiced, you get the money in the bank account, then you have a business. But you need to be very clear about who are you targeting? What is the solution? Why must they buy it from you? Especially if you don't have a strong set of relationships or a large network that you can tap into. It's why must they buy from you? So it is good that you use your current job as a means to your end. But again, if the above questions have not been answered, you will struggle, because we can't just get into business for the sake of getting into business. And guys, there's so many people, everyone, and this person is like, what is your differentiator? Why should people buy from you? So what is your differentiator? What are you you don't have to go and invent something new, but the question is, why should people buy from you? What are you doing that is different? And what gap have you identified? So what problem are you trying to solve? And where have you done it before? And where have you done sorry, guys, there's a comment here. How can I balance zeal and external resentment? Please send your question to vastlysage@amandadambuza.com, Lerato. I'm not answering questions on this platform. I'm answering questions received on that platform. So I won't be able to answer yours unless you send it there. So it's very important to understand, what gap have you identified and what are you solving and where have you done it before, which is where I was. And every single opportunity is about setting you up for the next one. That whatever you do, you touch with hands that this is it. This is the only opportunity you're going to have in life, because that's setting up your first client, depending on how you've delivered, is the one that sets you up for the next business. And don't ever underestimate that. So even if you've done something small for a client, that is work. That is business. So do it. I would watch SMME Matters. It's on iTunes and Spotify as well. I did that podcast with Magnus Broderick around how I started my business and some of the things that I believe are key. So find creative ways to market your offering. Each offering is unique. And also remember, you don't always have to go things alone, especially if you don't yet have that confidence. So look for credible and skilled partners. If you don't know how to sell, but you know how to deliver, find partners that can sell, because that is what you need. So you don't always have to do everything yourself. You can identify people who can help you with that business. So a lot of people get opportunities and they completely stuff them up. They don't actually, treat it like it's their steak, like it's their next meal. They treat it like, another one's gonna come. And unfortunately, people like us don't just get opportunities. You have to hustle for them. So that one that you get, you have to be absolutely considerate about how you use it. And, quality work breeds more opportunity. And this is how you build a business, ultimately. And invest the time and effort into marketing your business. Previous credibility and strong relationships, they do pave the way, and you can never underestimate that. So do your research, answer your why, profile your target market. Who are you trying to sell to? Who's going to buy your offering? Why must they buy them? Why must they buy your offering? You must do these things even before you start your business, because it really does make the job easier, because then you get to understand, is someone actually going to buy your business or buy your offering? Because again, an idea is not a business. It's not a business. You have to start to see the money come in, the offering upfront, because you're trying to get business. No, You devalue your business right up front. You devalue your business before you even get going. So put true value to your work and develop that business brand. Develop the brand and deliver on your promises and nurture your clients and nurture your staff. And get a website. Leverage social media. And I'm not promoting product here, but things like Google AdWords. Get your business out there. Let it be seen. You cannot build a business sitting and being comfortable on your couch. It's not going to happen. Business is about discomfort. And it takes a lot to get to a position where you can be comfortable. Even when you're comfortable, you cannot sit and rest there, because business is about this. It's continuous. It's constantly fighting for the next and making sure you've got good people, good team. You look after your people, you look after your clients. So, sorry, let me just ask the people to open my door. It is a long game. Put in the right work. Stretch every single cent. Every cent in business must work. And be patient. Be patient. Even when you are losing, be patient. Keep grinding. Keep building. That's it. One day, something's going to drop. So don't lose. That's why I said it's about the stomach for it. So don't lose your patience. Don't lose the resilience, because you need to be persistent in everything that you do. And you can be great, you can have a great offering, but if no one is buying it, you have no business. So I hope that is helping. Then this other question is, how does one pick up the pieces after being retrenched? Now, sadly, we are living in a world where this is a reality, and in these days has got to look at, how can they save costs? And humans, people, staff is always the first place people cut. So I think just before I get into that, just as a side remark, before you get retrenched, never sign any papers, any forms without professional help. And remember that HR is hired by the organization. So on that list, just don't sign anything. Even if they say this is a simple severance package payout, you've been here for 4 years, we pay you 1 week for every, just make sure you still have someone that can just take a look at it for you, because the fine print is always interesting. And ensure that you have unemployment insurance, guys, UIF, and check that your company is actually handing over your UIF every now and then, because so many people have found themselves without jobs and they get to claim at the UIF and the company wasn't paid. So it's awful, but your well-being and your that of your family is your business. So take care of it. So as I already said, it's a harsh reality, a really sad one, in fact. And unfortunately, it is increasing the inequality gap in South Africa and leaves many dreams unrealized. However, not all is lost. Don't take retrenchment personally. And I understand it's easy to take it personally, but don't do it on its own. It means you are of no value. So, mourn your loss. So you heard me say earlier that you must take the time to go through emotions. Mourn your loss, because being retrenched is a loss. It's a significant loss, and it brings about so many fears. So mourn your loss. Treat it as the much needed kick in the behind to do something else. Perhaps something you have always wanted to do, but we're too afraid and bound by responsibilities. So if you are already retrenched, you no longer have a worry about, I'm scared of losing my job. You've already lost the job. So now is the opportunity to say, okay, I've hit rock bottom. What do I do? What are the things that I've always wanted to do? Perhaps it was time for a fresh start anyway, but you were too fearful. You were too afraid to leave. So let me talk about dependency also on one income. That's a problem. So a lot of people talk about, passions that they have and etc., and they want to make them businesses. If you're not a business person, if you're not an entrepreneur, you know it, and you can try and, do whatever. Only you know if you're cut out for it. So I say, if you have a passion, you can have a side hustle. You can actually have that carry on somehow without taking away from your job. And without it's okay to never want to be an entrepreneur, but to have extra income on the side. So you're not to be a full-time entrepreneur, but have something on the side. So people that find invested for you, don't do it, because you are going to lose your money. You are being scammed. Simple. So before you even get retrenched, make sure that you've put in place the right insurances, the right kind of savings plans. Everyone says, I can't save because I don't have enough. You can save. You can save even if it's 100 rands. You can save. You can just start somewhere, so that by the time you find yourself in trouble, you have actually already built up something. So sadly, there are some disturbing side effects to being retrenched. It's your self-esteem is lowered, it is a pointless and futile exercise to keep asking why me. You're not going to get the answer. So if you keep asking it, why me, and you're just dragging yourself down even further. There is no answer. And it's sad, because sometimes often people who ask themselves the question are the ones who have committed so much of themselves to the job, who have given up family life, who have sacrificed so much. Yet when there's loss, grief, and anxiety, and guilt, and even worthlessness and helplessness, so disbelief comes about. And do not hide it, there's nothing to be ashamed about. Talk about it and seek emotional support, even mental support. You'll be surprised that your family is probably even struggling. And if you don't talk about it, if you don't share the burden, it becomes even heavier. And you want to prepare yourself for future opportunities. So you need to be in good condition. When I say condition, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. And depression and anxiety will set you back even more. So you want to try and avoid getting to a place where you are in such a deep, dark corner. So talk about it, seek the help that you need, and use the opportunity to further your skills while searching for what's next. Maybe you've always wanted to do something else, but now you've got the time to upskill yourself, and use the services of the company that's retrenching you. So if they tell you you've got 4 months to find another job, you can go to their retrenchment center, or whatever center they call it. Go there. Don't be bitter and be like, I'm not going there. They've got free Wi-Fi. They've got computers. You can use that all you want to find your next job, or to upskill yourself, do an online course, anything. Just go and use those services, because you have paid for them. They are rightfully yours to use. So if you think you are spiting them by not using them, you are spiting yourself. Negotiate for financial advice, and career planning is part of your redundancy package. So talk to your company and say, okay, this is what's happening. So I need you to allocate a financial advisor for me. I need you to allocate give me a career planning session, because I'm struggling with it. I need to understand how to move forward. More often than not, these organizations do have those resources at hand, but nobody asks for them. Sometimes they do actually upfront offer them as part of the package, and a lot of people just So cut down on your expenses. Guys, I know we all struggle. Most people live on credit cards. It's hard to make ends meet. Food is expensive. But the truth is, credit cards, it's hard to make ends meet. Food is expensive. But the truth is that if you, right now, everyone faces job losses. It's a potential, it has happened. Cut down on your expenses. There are so many things that we end up spending on that we don't need. When you are in a valley, this is a valley. This pandemic is a valley for all of us. It means you can't then, if you don't have the cash, if you don't have surplus cash, You can't just be splashing on things that are not a need or a necessity. So you need to pull back into the basic necessities of living, that is food. But even your food, you have to be considerate about what you're buying and how it goes a long way. Cut wastage. And I'm saying, and I'm going to slip about my passions. So I'm all about sustainability, but cut down on those expenses. And when you can see that trouble is going to come, in fact, guys, it's not even about seeing when trouble is going to come. Whatever little money you have should be going towards cutting debt, because debt is what brings so much fear into people's lives. Fear of losing a job, fear of even starting a business, you name it, debt, because you're like, yo, what am I going to do? Yeah, okay, there are things like school fees and all that. I appreciate that. But I'm just saying, cut down on your expenses. And I hope hopefully you had insurance, you know, and unfortunately, I mean, we all hate insurance. We all hate paying for it because it's a ripoff. But when you need it, you're like, yo, okay. So, and also ask for references. So ask your company in that moment when they're retrenching you to write you a reference letter. Don't come back months later because they've moved on. They don't even remember who you are. But in that moment, make it part of your package or your retrenchment package that they write you a reference letter. And the reference letter is what you're going to use to get into other roles. And in the reference letter, they must say that the only always think that companies are using retrenchment to get rid of the dead wood. They are using retrenchment to get to their profit line. And they will do it to anyone who's there. But I must tell you, you know, reach out to your networks, update your covering letter. Please make it look nice. And don't lie about having been retrenched, because that will cost you your next job. Because a lot of people lie and they don't say I was retrenched because they are ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed about. In fact, I think it's just common expectation that people will be retrenched in the times that we're living in. And please do not throw fits and toys in the workplace because you are angry. I understand that. It's understandable. It's a normal reaction. But the minute you burn that bridge, understand that you won't be able to come back. And what often happens with people that have been retrenched, they get recontracted in because companies realize, okay, fine, we've managed to take off this cost, but we also then created this gap. So wait for that gap to be created and stay close to them and say, okay, actually, you can even make more money by going back and be your own contractor. You've created a job for yourself, you know, and you can have the flexibility that you want. That's what I'm saying. It's not all is lost when you've been retrenched. It's not the end of the world. And there's so much more that you can do. And you know, it's having retrenchment, as much as you don't want it, it's an opportunity for a do-over. It's something that we never get. Nobody wishes it upon anyone. No one says, I want to be retrenched, unless, I mean, you've been in a company for 20 years and you're ready to take your package or whatever, and you're going to do something meaningful with it. But I want you to understand, money runs out very quickly, very, very quickly, because we get comfortable when money comes in. You know, every month, 25th, SMS, you've been paid. When you are not getting that money, even the little that you got from your retrenchment package finishes. So you must be money must always be coming in somehow. So you have to find a way, even if it's just contracting your services out. Okay, I think I'm done with that question. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, and wave if you can still hear me and everything is good. If there's something that's not working, let me know. I also get quite a lot of, and I must add, we've got about 30 minutes left. I'll try and push it over to 2 hours if you have the time, depending on how far I am. I'm getting. How do you? So the question is, how do you get over your fears and self-doubt? And this is a very common question that I get answered. And this person, the background is that this person, okay, cool. Thanks, guys. This person is in corporate for 10 years and they're too afraid to start a business, but they want to. They have a passion in clothing, image, and design. Now, again, you're going to hear me, might sound a little harsh here, but bear with me. Fear is about the now. So you are fearing now. And whilst, there's fear and then there's an anxiety. Anxiety is a type of fear, but it's about worry about the future. So often people think there's something wrong with fear. So the fear is a normal bodily reaction. But I'll tell you when fear becomes a problem. So let's just get that out of the way. Fear is about the now, and anxiety is a type of fear about the future and worrying and thinking all sorts of things. A lot of people fear failure because of what failure means. And loss of love is also a fear. Financial security, jobs, embarrassment, ridicule, rejection, criticism, and change. People fear change. And connection bad on your side. Is it bad on my side? Let me know. On Wi-Fi, a good one. Okay. Should I keep going or should I try and reposition myself? You tell me how bad it is, because oh, okay. Why are you getting into it? So what is your why? What problem are you trying to solve? I must try to reposition. I must keep going. Okay, I'm almost done anyway. So okay. Okay. And I hope that it will be better. It's fine, because I'm on. I don't know. Okay, so refer to the other question where I was talking about a business, and because you have a passion doesn't mean you can turn it into a business. So, and you have a corporate job, which is quite a common thing where people are trying to build up businesses, but they're still in corporate. So let me focus on getting over fears and self-doubt. And here the understanding is that these principles can be used in any scenario. So whatever your scenario is. And again, if you can just refer to the answer about the inner work, that's quite important. So firstly, you must face your fear. What is it? So remember inner work, a conversation I had earlier, identify it. What is it? And what drives it? Where does it come from? So you can't just say, oh, I have fear, and then you leave it there. No. What is it? What are you fearful of? And often when you name the fear and you confront it, you diminish its power. So what drives it? Where does it come from? And we have to live consciously. We have to be mindful. So if you are feeling something, you need to understand what it is and where does it come from. You can't just like, oh yeah, no, I fear, I can't. That word I can't is typical fear. But why? Why can't you? Because you can. So why can't you? So face your fear and understand your emotions until you can understand what triggers them. So what triggers the fear? If you are afraid of job security, then it's fine. Guys, I'm not going to read your comments anymore. You're now asking me to share this in written form, Wonga. Enough, love. I'm sorry if you didn't catch some of it. I hope it gets better. And we must also let go of the need to be perfect. Perfection often leads to fear and paralysis. So just give something your best shot and rely and trust that you have given it your all. Talk about your fears. That diminishes their power. Trust your instinct. Back it up with knowledge and information. Often people are afraid because they don't know. So find out what's causing the fear and seek what you need to know to diminish that fear. And build up your confidence levels. The way you build those confidence levels is by enhancing your knowledge and your information. So build that up. If you're fearful to start a business, understand why. Is it because you don't know what to do? Then learn what to do so that you build up your confidence. And you know, the worst thing people can say is no. Again, I said no hasn't killed anybody. So what are you so afraid of? You know? And a lot of people fear even taking up opportunities, bigger opportunities, because they are short. So you give it your best shot. Okay, I also just got a connection thing now, guys. Okay, I'll carry on. It's gonna be fine. So you know, a lot of people take failure personally. They treat failure as they have failed. They haven't failed. What they were trying to do has failed. So you need to separate the two. If a business idea fails, you haven't failed. The business failed. You take some lessons from it. You absolutely do. You learn what you need to learn from it. But in business and in life, you win some, you lose some. So you know, you just keep going until you can start winning more and losing. And failure is a never to guide your direction. Don't let it control you. And move to your own rhythm and pace and your own rhythm and pace. And you know, often we like to compare ourselves. Okay, sorry, I'm just letting these people know to do something with the Wi-Fi. Ourselves. Okay, sorry, I'm just letting these people know to do something with the Wi-Fi. Please open that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, you know, okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, you know, it disables you, then it disables you, it paralyzes you. So use it to get the information that you need to get. And move to, don't compare yourself to others. You can use others as inspiration or motivation, but don't compare yourself to them and say, you are not where they are, therefore you are not worthy. That's not good. And face the fear, don't feed it. It will grow out of control if you feed it. Face it with the aim of defeating it. And often our fears are fueled by lack of knowledge. So again, educate yourself. And nothing builds confidence and subdues fear than being prepared. So be prepared. If you've got a presentation that you must do, or you've got a meeting, a big meeting where you have to pitch something, be prepared, because that builds up your confidence levels. And when your confidence levels are high, your fear diminishes. And, you know, build up your competence. It does give you that confidence boost. And picture success and imagine that will always elude you if gripped in fear. So picture your success, visualize it, and imagine that you'll never have that if you're constantly gripped in fear. And you know, find a proven way of doing something. So you don't always have to be starting from scratch. Learn from people who've already done it. That's knowledge, that's information. Feed yourself with that. And then customize something to suit your situation or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And stay positive and remember that you can always change direction if need be. You know, this is what people are fearful of, just changing direction, Guys, imagine you're driving somewhere and you see there's a pothole there, or there are traffic officers. You change direction. There's nothing wrong with that. That's life. Okay, if you are running away because you're a criminal, that's a problem. All I'm saying is, if you're thinking, listen, I have a meeting to get to, I don't have time for this, you change direction. There's nothing wrong with changing direction, but we are so rigid about our lives, and we think that there's only a linear path to success. There's no linear path to success. You go everywhere, you detour. As long as the vision remains clear, as long as that goal for your life is clear, how you get to it it can take years, can take months, it can take weeks, you name it. So I think that we should remember that we can change direction. There is nothing wrong with changing direction. And you must do that if you need to. See your disappointment as learning opportunities. You know, I had a business, and I write about this in my book, Baked in Pain, which is available at amandadambuza.com. I talk about how I lost a lot of money in a business venture that failed in Cape Town. And I had to go back to work, guys. I had to go back to corporate. My first attempt at big business or full-time entrepreneurship was in 2008, and it was a complete disaster. And I had to go back to work because I was knee-deep in debt, and debt with the landlord. You signed a 3-year lease. The fact that you close the business after 6 months is none of their problem. You know, you paying lawyers, I had literally emptied the kitty box in our home. And when I say emptied, it was a lot of money. It was close to R1 million. And, you know, it was hard. So I could fall back onto that. And I went and I worked. And I only left corporate. I left corporate now for the second time in 2014. Then I left for 1 year. And it was rough. I went back, I ran back, in fact. But I was clear that that was not going to be the end for me. But that's what I needed to do at that point in time. My twin girls were just a couple of months old. My husband had started a new job. You know, so it was all just a bit too much. But I really had to rely on myself and my ability to turn a situation around, to turn direction, to change direction, to turn that corner. So I went back and I worked, and I was diligent. I rose in corporate. I did really well. I had an amazing corporate career. And up until, you know, I got to a point, I was a CIO at ABSA, and I decided it was time to leave because that was no longer the most effective use of my time. And I wanted to then get into business full time. And that's what I did in 2014. It's 2021. I'm still going, baby. I'm going strong, and I am successful in business. It's not just one